Hello everyone, Paul with ConvertingCopy.com, and today we're going to talk about 3 types of anchor text which you can use when linking to your site from other sites or on your site, whatever you want to do. There are 3 different types that all anchor text can be narrowed down and categorized into. So I've talked at length in the past several months since the Google Penguin update went into effect about the dangers and consequences of over-optimization. Really, this is one of the worst things that you can be doing nowadays as an online marketer for your website. And this says to Google, if you are over-optimizing your site using too much targeted keywords on your site or in the anchor text, which we'll talk about in a moment, that says that you're trying to game the system, and more than anything else, it just doesn't look natural. And if you think about it, if someone else is going to create a link to your site, they read a post that you've made and they say to themselves, I want to link to this is good content from their site. What are they going to use as anchor text? They're probably not going to use the keyword that you're targeting in that article. That's just not the way it works. And the idea that you would have a lot of links pointing to your site which are rich in the keywords you're targeting looks very suspicious, and it looks like you're basically creating all the links to your site yourself, which is not what Google is looking for when ranking sites. So let's talk about the 3 different types of anchor text. We have, first and foremost, generic keywords. These are just your generic keywords that you see all the time on the internet. Your classics like click here or check this out, something like that. Anything that's irrelevant and unrelated, things like read this article, anything like that. That basically is a type of generic keyword which you can always get away with using when linking to your site. Google isn't as dependent upon targeted keywords for search engine optimization purposes as it used to be. In the past, you could use keywords in your anchor text pointing to your site, and it would give Google a much better idea of what that content's about. Nowadays, they don't need that. They can figure it out for themselves, and again, it just looks unnatural and like you're trying way too hard to over-optimize your pages for those keywords, like you're just trying to rank. So a good mix of generic keywords is one of the best things that you can do when linking to your site. And I'd say the majority of the anchor text which you point towards your site and pages should be generic keywords. All right? This makes it very easy to be natural and just type as if you're speaking without having to go out of your way to overload it with the keyword you're targeting. All right, secondly, we have branding keywords. Branding keywords are those which relate to your business, your website, your product. Any of those names can be used as the anchor text in this case, and that's not going to get you in trouble because you should be ranking for your branding keywords, You should be ranking for your website's URL, which is another example of a branding keyword, just using your plain URL without even really using an anchor text in that case, or using that as the anchor text, and using your site's name or anything about you that's related to you or your product. That's branding keywords, and you should have a good mix of those in there as well. So I would say if you want to go maybe 45% on the generic keywords, I would say maybe drop that down to about a 35% for the branding keywords. So that's not like a hard and fast rule, and that's not been verified by Google or anything like that. That's just my own opinion, basically, that you should go for that kind of mix between generic and branding. And finally, which is what this whole post is basically about, is targeted keywords. These are the keywords which you are actively targeting on the page you are linking to. So if you had a page where you were targeting the keyword phrase puppy food, then with targeted keyword anchor text, you would use puppy food as the anchor text for all incoming links. Now the problem with this, again, is that it's just over-optimized and unrealistic that other webmasters would be using that exact phrase for that link. So you don't want to use a lot of these, especially with your lower tier links. You can still use them every now and then, and I would recommend when you do use the targeted anchor text that you focus on high authority and high PR links that are coming to your site. So if maybe you made a guest post on a very high-ranking and authoritative blog in your niche, then by all means, in that case, you would probably want to use your targeted keyword text as that anchor text to point to your site. But if we're talking about lower tier links, then we're probably going to want to focus on the generic and the branding keywords for anchor text. Now again, it's just my recommendation, but a nice breakdown for targeted keywords would be about 20% of your entire linking profile in terms of the anchor text you're using. So again, let's take a look at it. I said I recommend about 45% for generic keywords. That should be the bulk of the anchor text pointing to your pages. Then 35%, we drop it down a bit for the branding keywords. These are all keywords related to your site, your name, your product name, your website's URL itself. Anything that falls under that umbrella is a branding keyword and should be used quite a bit. And then finally, we have the targeted keywords, which you should really scale back on if you haven't already. And I put that at about 20% or 1/5 of the number of links which you point to your pages. So I hope this video helped you out, gave you a better understanding of how to use anchor text effectively and not go overboard with over optimization. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.